Howdy howdy, Zoo Devil here. In today's fight I'm going to be up against Bretonnia. I've tried a new army build because I'm not sure I can run gyrocopters versus them, so I thought first of all I'd need some range, so I put a cannon in front, put a few chevrons on that with my extra gold. If you look at one of my essential units, the value of chevrons, you can actually gain value by adding chevrons to your cannons, believe it or not, so I feel that's a reasonable spend for what I'm trying to do. I've also done some testing against Bretonnia's infantry, and the Dwarf warriors can stand up reasonably, though they're going to lose to their, I think not the spearmen, but the halberdiers. And on my sides here, I also tested, and I put Longbeards with great weapons because they tend to be pretty good against cavalry, so I've boxed up with Longbeards all around. And I've also brought three Thanes, and specifically there for cavalry. They're going to try and stop the charge or get in the way. And I brought 2 units of Thunders to try and stop his lord from coming in. So I also brought Ungrim Iron Fist. Again, if he drops in on me, I want to be able to use that Axe of Dargo and try and kill his lord fast, or his flying units as quickly as I can. And I got my Slayers in there for that exact same reason. And of course I have my Runesmith. And I brought the Rune of Wrath and Ruin to try and cast on his cavalry. Now, his army, he's got a lot of cavalry. On this side, he's got 3 units of Knights of the Realm. And you know, I've tried it. I've played a lot against cavalry, just against the AI, and they are very, very tough to play against. And 2 units of Grail Knights. These guys worry me. And he even brought a unit of Pegasus Knights. For his hero, he brought just a Lord with on a flying mount, and he's got the 2 potions with his Lord. It looks like he has 3 potions, and he brought a Damsel. And I am going to try and focus that Damsel down. They can do a lot to really make these men-at-arms better, and these are the ones that my Dwarf warriors can't handle, so I was a little worried about them. Now I'll press play. It takes a little while to engage. I might fast forward a little bit actually. I'm trying to figure out what is going to be the best to use my cannons against, and I kind of go back and forth at trying to hit over here, and I'm trying to hit his Pegasus Knights, take a few shots at his men-at-arms, but throughout the whole battle my cannons do just awful. I don't know if I can bring them. I'm rethinking my build for sure, but he's already looking for an engagement, and he's got his cavalry behind. He's ready for the charge, so I'm going to take my Thunders and try and get some shots on these Grail Knights, but already I'm feeling the pain. As he comes in, he's gonna try and overload this side and cycle charge me to death, which is going to be very effective because I don't have any units that can take a charge, but I know these guys can beat the Knights of the Realm. I have tested them, and my Longbeards can definitely beat them. So I start opening fire on his Damsel. I'm going to try and get her, put some hurt on her as fast as I can to see if I can knock her down and get her out of the battle, because I know she's going to cast and really hurt my army here. Now at this point I bring this Thane out to the back. I want to try and get in the way of his cavalry. I'm a little bit indecisive about where to go and what to do, and now he's going to start engaging. So I've got my Rune of Negation, and he's got the -34 melee attack going, so he's not going to take any damage on this first charge, and I'm not going to take a ton, though he's gone into my Dwarf warriors. I know those men-at-arms are going to crush me, so he does a really nice job of getting everything all in at once, and he's going to start the cycle charge now. I'm trying to get to his Lord with my Thane and my Runesmith and Ungrim, so I can use that Axe of Dargo, and he's going to come in and go right for my Thunders, which is going to turn out to be a very good thing. He's very focused on taking out my ranged and making sure I can't use them to good effect. So on this side I'm holding the line okay, but I'm trying to get to his Lord. I just can't seem to get to him. I'm a little plowed up, and I'm going to continually try to get my Thunders back and out, but I don't do a very good job of it. You can see I'm commanding them there to get out. My Longbeards, I've tried to stop the charge with my Thane, but it hasn't worked very good. And my Longbeards are doing some work on his Grail Knights, but he is definitely getting the better of that engagement. So I put off my Rune of Oath and Steel, and I'm going to use my Rune of Wrath and Ruin, I think, on these Grail Knights, and try and cycle it as much as I can. Now his Damsel is doing just fine out there. I'm not sure exactly what she's casting. I don't see anything out here, but my Dwarf Warriors are already feeling it. And he's brought his Lord over. He's looking for a good target. He's going to come down and help on this side. And you can see I'm trying to get all my characters to go in and fight him. And he's going to continue the cycle charges. I've forgotten about this thing. This Thunder has routed. I'm going to try and bring him back, I think, and get some shots off on this Damsel or the Pegasus Knights. I'm looking to get these guys out of the game at least as soon as I can. And I've chased back here with my Thane and my Runesmith, which was a mistake. My Runesmith can't give these guys their buffs. It looks like I'm taking his Lord down, so I see the charge coming in, so I hit my Rune of Negation to try and minimize that, but he's continually casting that -34 melee attack, which is making my infantry basically useless at this point. So I've got to get that Damsel down, and I'm not going to be able to go and get her very easily because he's in there causing chaos everywhere he's at. These Grail Knights are doing a good job. He's forgotten about these guys, but he'll bring them back. He does a good job of continuously bringing these Grail Knights out, especially in cycle charging. And I almost got his Lord. I'm trying to bring back my Thunders, my one unit of Thunders, to shoot and kill him, but I can't get the job done. Now, he's got his Knights of the Realm stuck in there, and I'm going to... See, I take my Thane, and I'm trying to get out there to stop that charge, but he just can't get it done. Now this whole side of my line has basically collapsed. I've got my Longbeards there, my Dwarf Warriors. They're just trying to hold, and he's coming back in over and over with these Knights, Grail Knights, and my Thane has basically done nothing. So I'll have to rethink that idea for sure. So at this point, it's almost just a big blob. At some point, I'm going to try and get that Damsel. I'm not too sure when, to be honest. But the main fight is right in here. I'm trying to get my Thunderers out. My other Thunders are come back from routing. I'm going to aim at these Pegasus Knights and try and take them out. But he's healed up his Lord full, and he's taken out almost all of my infantry. I've got basically very little left except for my Slayers. These Knights of the Realm have done their job, and though they're low and they've lost a lot of health, they're still going to continue to cycle charge into me and try and get rid of my Slayers and the rest of my infantry. I've sent my Thane into this side because it looks like I'm just going to get totally mangled by these men-at-arms. They do have armor piercing. Now he's come after my Thane, and I'm going to try and do something against him, but it's not going to be terribly effective. I've got my Thunderers back here, and I'm going to start giving them orders to try and come up and at least get some shots off, I think, against these Grail Knights, and or maybe his Pegasus Knights. I just want to finish off one of his units, and you can see it's just basically a big blob. All I've got left is a couple Slayers and basically the rest of my heroes. I'm going to continue casting Rune of Oath and Steel and all of my buffs to try and at least tank out as much as I can. His Grail Knights have just crushed me. They've crushed my infantry on the back line. These Knights of the Realm have cycled in and out. I've got no infantry left. It's basically just my heroes. And my Thunderers, I'm going to try and take out those Pegasus Knights, but there's basically just his infantry and my heroes. So I'm going to try and continue the fight here. I think I'm going to pop off a potion here and there. And I send my Thane after this Damsel, and thankfully he doesn't notice it right away. And I'm going to get some good damage on her, so that I think she's casting that -34 melee attack, and I almost kill her, but I don't quite get the job done. But definitely send her routing. So there's not much left of the battle at this point. You can see I'm trying to target at least something with my Thunders. They're really low morale. I'm trying to do my best to at least get them to hit something that hopefully he won't see. but now there's not a whole lot left. The rest of the battle, you know, you can watch it if you like. There's not much to it. Basically, we're gonna fight in this blob. He's gonna take a few cracks at maybe my Thane and something else, but really there's not much to it. You know, I do have an advantage here, but he's wisely gonna pull out, and a lot of his units are routing, but they will stop routing at some point. I have popped a potion on my Thane against his Lord. I don't know if he has any potions left, but I'm going to try and get his Lord. If I can just kill his Lord, I know it's going to be over. So I've brought Ungrim with his Axe of Dargo, and he just gets away. And that's going to be the rest of the battle. Now, he's going to go and take out my Thunders. I take a few shots at his Grail Knights and bring the rest of my troops in here to try and clean up these Knights of the Realm, which they're for the most part going to do, but the battle is over at this point, and there's no way he can bring these guys in and face me, and there's no way I can catch him. So I'm just going to fast forward it, and you know, I might even cut this and like triple time it, because basically I chase him around a little bit. You know, my Rune Smith is behind, and I thought for a second, man, if I can get him, nope. So at some point we're going to exchange a few words on chat. You know, nothing major. I'm just trying to goad him in. He's like, obviously he's not bringing back anyone because he'll lose. So from here on out, it's just a matter of waiting, and we chat a little bit, and that's about it. So this is my very first draw, and looking at this composition, you know, the dwarves it's really hard to handle cavalry. It's really hard to manage those, and that was the idea of these things. And my heroes held up really good, and I almost killed his Lord. You know, had I been able to get one extra volley, I could have done it. Or had I managed my Thunders a little bit better, I might have been able to do it, but I just couldn't get the job done. And he definitely did a good job of cycle charging in me on all sides, so I had no room to operate. So we'll look at the end plate, and you can see these Grail Knights. I mean, they were just devastating, crushing. And the Pegasus Knights did not too bad. You got to think, he sent those in on my Thunder specifically, and I nearly clipped his Lord, but he used them pretty good through that whole fight, but he almost went in a little too far. And these Men-at-Arms, he forgot about them at some point in there, but they did a pretty good job. I think they're the best infantry to bring against the dwarfs because they are armor piercing, and they can take a dwarf warrior one-on-one. You can see my dwarf warriors did very little. My Longbeards, you know, I would say underperformed, but I think my composition underperformed more so than my Longbeards. One group did good, but here's the key unit. He shut these guys right down. The same with my cannon. I don't think I can, well, I'm not sure. I might replace this. I'm thinking of going back to maybe 4 gyrocopters and 1 Thunder to try and manage that. My Slayers did awesome. They were a fantastic unit in there. Ungrim had a strong performance, and all my Thanes did alright, but these Thanes just cannot stop a cavalry charge. So I might drop down to Ungrim and a Runesmith, and maybe 1 Thane, I don't know, and then I'll bring an Air Force to at least try and challenge. Now, that's risky because he can bring a lot stronger air units than I can, but if I can kite them over to my Thunders can quickly go to work on them. But anyways, not a terribly interesting battle. My composition was very weak against his, and he did a great job of cycling in and out non-stop and just demolishing my Longbeards. Like 13 and 10 kills is awful for these guys. They definitely have to perform much better. And I didn't do a good job at getting his Damsel. Had I been able to take a Thane out of that blob earlier and been aware that she was there and kill her and stop all those buffs she was giving, that minus 34 melee attack basically gives all of these guys 0 melee attack, so their base chance to hit will be 10%, which is as low as you can go. Anyways, I hope you found that interesting, and I'll see you soon.